Tomb Raider, released on October 25th, 1996, would have a huge impact on the gaming world as we know it. At the time, the graphics, level design, and storytelling were revolutionary. After it came out, the game was met with glowing reviews and launched a franchise that is still ongoing today. But what is it like to play this game for the first time after growing up on modern games, that by comparison make all the things that made this game amazing at the time seem underwhelming and completely dated? What the f? What the fuck is that? Is that a vase? Oh, that's a corpse. Alright, never mind, let's go! That looks like a face? Ah! The name's Poppy. RottenPapi. Today, I'm going to be telling you what it was like for me to play Tomb Raider for the first time in 2022 as a Zoomer, aka someone born between the late 1990s and the early 2010s. In terms of my expectations, Tomb Raider is a game that I generally didn't hear much about gameplay-wise. All that I ever saw or heard about was the hypersexualization of Lara Croft. That video was not fan-made and was a real ad that they used to advertise Tomb Raider 1. She literally punches you in the face and kills you. What a great way to sell the game. Sold me. The second time, the only bit of gameplay I'd seen was snippets of maybe the dinosaur. Ah! Ah! Oh my god. Oh my. I wasn't sure what kind of game to expect going into this. Honestly, I figured it would have an emphasis on combat and shooting, and was pleasantly surprised when it turned out to be mostly an action-adventure puzzle game. The first thing I noticed when I loaded into the game was the controls. Wait, are you serious? Let's try that again. Oh yeah! Oh yeah, I'm a f***ing gamer, let's go! The controls are as jank as the relationship I have with my father. I swam upward before, why? Swim up! No, I'm about to die, I'm about to die. This is how I die. This game is actually an early 3D title, following the release of Mario 64 by only a few months. Because of this, they had to come up with creative ideas to make the game work. The game is actually built entirely on a grid system, which is why the controls are so strange. This is what allowed them to build out levels that at the time were very big and explorable, and also allowed us as the player to see Lara in third person instead of first. So obviously these controls are weird. I try to put on my 90s hat to help me figure out why they would be this way. In this case, learning that the game was an early 3D title and they were still trying to figure out how to make that work helped me understand why it was that way in order to get used to it and see if it's actually good. The other thing I noticed was the lack of music. Music would only play in select moments. Oh, that was nice for 2 seconds when we had music. I love when this game plays literally 10 seconds of music and then I was like, alright, that's enough music for you! Initially, I thought this was a glitch in my emulator or the PlayStation version of the game, but after some research, I actually found out that this was intentional. Because of limited space, they decided to take a more atmospheric approach to the game music, only playing music at select times to set the scene or build tension. And I actually ended up loving it unexpectedly because it created moments like this. Oh, save point. Wait, why is this music playing? I'm so scared right now! The lack of music made you as the player focus a lot more on the action sounds around you, and truly made it feel as though you were exploring a giant tomb. This combined with the fact that enemies seemed to spawn in at random made playing the game an almost horror-like experience. Just rocks. Ah! Damn, stop f***ing jump scaring me, this game! Holy shit. Yes, that's right. Enemies spawn almost at random. And the only reason I say almost is because I'm sure on repeated playthroughs of the game, they're actually just in the same spot every time. But as a first-time player, there's no indicator that they are in the room with you or anything. They're just there suddenly. It is very scary. What the fuck? Wait, are these horse stables? Why the fuck are these? Ah! Oh my god. Okay, that's not fair. This game jump scared me more than any other horror game I've ever played. I'd almost argue that it has more jump scares than Five Nights at Freddy's. You can have entered a room multiple times without there being any enemies, but a puzzle you did or an item you picked up could trigger an enemy to spawn in behind you on your 5th time being there. Honestly, even though I don't think any new games could get away with doing this, I loved the tension it made me feel. The whole time I played, I was super on edge and not sure when the next enemy could appear. Because it makes your skin really f***ing orange. But that's just because it's high quality oil. But yeah, you look like ah! Good, I love when a hallway is like this. Because it makes me f***ing nervous. Wait, I've been calculating this wrong. I was 3 months premature then, This game kind of feels like a fever dream. Everything about it is incredibly strange. You're in environments and fighting enemies that make it feel like you're in a real tomb, or at least how you would imagine being in a real tomb would feel like. But as the game progresses, it slowly turns from fighting monkeys and cougars and things like that into fighting skinless beasts, missile-firing rock centaurs in weird, pulsating skin walls? Muscle wall? What? And go inside because PogChamp. Ah! The dev team was mainly composed of 6 people, and I couldn't actually find anything on this, but people say that the team became sleep deprived during the making of the game, which explains why it delves into such a weird, horror-esque feeling game. I mean, to be fair, the last time I didn't sleep for a few days, I hallucinated seeing an entirely skinless version of myself that I then had to coax into a pit where they would burn to death. Wait, no, I'm just thinking of Tomb Raider. What? Meet me? Now we can see what Laura's anatomy is. What the? She looks like E.T. She looks like E.T. I don't know if there's an explanation for that or not. I have no idea even why the temples start becoming these meaty flesh zones and enemies become more and more demonic. I'm not even sure if there's a reason for it at all. In fact, I didn't get much of the story in general. Apparently, back in the day, in the 1990s, they had these things called game manuals. Sounds made up. Initially, I missed the tutorial. In the menu, it's just called Laura's house. When I first tried to select it, my controller wasn't working, so I dismissed it as some kind of endgame thing, or like a gallery where you could look at the tomb treasures you found. But I have to say, putting the tutorial in Laura's house and letting it act as both an intro to the controls, but also giving the player some insight into her life is actually pretty cool. And when chat told me that I missed it, I went back to it. The tutorial really helped me understand some things about the controls that I don't think I would have figured out on my own. Woo!
Right, now I'd better take off these wet clothes.
I am very attracted to Laura. Don't get me wrong. She can step on me any day, but that was weird. Apparently, to make sense of the story better, you need to read item descriptions, which makes total sense to me because I'm sure there's an item description that explains why one of the bosses is literally a skateboarding kid in cargo shorts. Usually that's the case. Why is it? What the f? This guy's on a skateboard? Wait, is this a child? For real, I can't tell what the hell was going on in this game. There were cutscenes, and I don't know about you, but I cannot understand them. Maybe it's because I'm an avid subtitle user, but it did not help at all. I have no idea what the story is.
So you think all this talking is just holding me up?
I don't know where his little jackrabbit frog legs are running him to. You'll have to ask Miss Natalie.
What?
Thank you.
The pendant divided and shared between the 3 rulers, which curbs tremendous powers. Powers beyond the Creator himself. My toes sweat at such possibilities.
Did you say his toes sweat? While all the stuff that I mentioned previously makes for an amazing and bizarre action game, there are still some things about this game that aged very, very poorly. Most noticeably to me, for the PS1 and Sega Saturn version of the game, was the save points. Do I shoot that? Don't answer. Why is the Sims logo floating here? The save points show up at strange times, and you can only use them once. That was changed for the PC release, but I did not play the PC release. It was very painful. Wait, is there a floating save point over there? How do I get that? Oh! If you die before the next save point, you go all the way back to where you were when you saved. which obviously wasn't new to games that came out around that time, but this game has so many parts where if you don't already know what's about to happen, you will probably just die. So what I need to do is probably run and jump to that side where that meatball is, and then backflip it back. Hopefully that after that meatball will be passed. Oh. And then you have to go all the way back where you last saved, which is some arbitrary spot and could be anywhere between 15 minutes of gameplay or 5. At the same time though, this really was to be expected from games at the time. For example, Donkey Kong Country is filled with stuff like that. Back then, this kind of difficulty was considered pretty normal, and most gamers at the time would easily look past this and just take breaks from playing and eventually go back to it. Now, this is kind of considered artificial difficulty and could easily turn players off. Personally, I find that most of the time I actually have the patience to get through these kinds of things as long as it's not super bad. And I usually find that once I finally do complete a really hard part in the game, I find it very rewarding. A save point. Yes! Oh, we f***ing did it! Yeah! That part of the game. Yes! Whoa! Oh my god, what the f*** was that? One thing that made this game unique to me is definitely the enemies. You have to shoot many different kinds of enemies to defend yourself. Your main gun doesn't have limited ammo, but you can choose to use one of the other guns for a better or more powerful shot, and those have limited ammo. There's this thing with the human enemies where apparently they don't f***ing die until you look away from them. So I wasted insane amounts of ammo on these guys not knowing that I had to turn around so they could despawn. Was this guy f***ing invincible? I'm like shooting him directly in the face. Die! Die! I don't think these characters die. I think they just run away. I think this is supposed to be like an ongoing character. He just has a lot of ketchup packets like underneath his jacket. Good thing I always carry around all this ketchup. Otherwise, these bullets would really hurt. I briefly mentioned this before, but by the end of the game, the enemies go from making sense for what you would think enemies would look like in a game called Tomb Raider to just straight up nightmare fuel. I think it's a mummy. Oh! 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 This is the final boss. I slammed my penis in the car door. You slammed your penis in the car door. Ow! Ow! Hey! Yeah, I see him! Wait, it's what? Wait! No f***ing way! No way! No way! No f***ing way! No! She turned into a demon? The final boss is Laura's boss, who turned into a demon. A literal demon. Despite all of the things in this game that aged poorly, I enjoyed the absolute hell out of it, and I could absolutely see myself going back and playing it for a second time. If you're thinking of replaying this game or even playing it for the first time yourself, I would definitely recommend either getting the PC version if you can get it working, or playing on an emulator with save states. Unless you enjoy pain. There's of course the option of playing the 2013 remake instead, which I heard is pretty good. I didn't play it, but according to people online, you are more likely to enjoy that version. If you're not turned off by old graphics, enemies that randomly spawn in, stiff controls, and a bunch of really bullshit game sections that require fortune telling in order not to die, then this game is incredibly rewarding and a true piece of history. I think I have to go down there, judging based off the fact that these levers didn't do shit, so Tomb Raider 1 is Zoomer approved. Subscribe.